there, folks. Tim Slade here from the eLearning Designers Academy. You know, in the world of instructional design and e-learning development, it is so easy to fall into familiar patterns. We rely on the same tools and the same platforms and the same workflows because they're what we know. But you know what? After a while, we stop looking around and we stop exploring. But here's the thing. There are some truly innovative tools out there that are pushing the boundaries and rethinking what authoring can look like. So let me ask you this. What if there was an e-learning authoring tool, let's say a platform that offered, a modern no-code web-based authoring experience? And what if it offered real-time collaboration and global branding controls? And what if it offered built-in project management tools and translation? And what if it offered the flexibility to create custom layouts and interactivity? And on top of all of that, what if it did all of that and didn't cost an arm and a leg and a second mortgage on your house? Well, you know what? That tool exists. And today I'm going to give you a quick introduction and overview to Parta.io, the productivity-first e-learning authoring platform. Now, before we dive into all of this, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Parta.io. Now, if you'd like to give it a try for yourself, check out the link in the description below to sign up for a free trial and see what it's all about for yourself. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and bell button to get alerted the next time I publish a video just like this one. And of course, join us inside our free community inside the eLearning Designers Academy at elearningacademy.io, where we help new instructional designers and e-learning developers grow their careers by focusing on skills first. Otherwise, let's dive in and see what Parta.io is all about. All right, so here we are on the Parta.io website. Now, before we jump in and I give you an overview of everything that's possible with the authoring experience with Parta, I want to highlight a couple of things from the website before we dive in. Now, one of the things that the Parta.io website and the people at Parta have emphasized with me is that it's all about productivity first, right? And one of the things I really appreciate as I've been playing with the tool and as I've talked with the folks at Parta is that they understand that e-learning development is a collaborative process. It's not something that just happens in a silo. And so as you're going to see as we dive into the tool, what's really amazing about it is that it's not just an e-learning authoring tool for the sake of e-learning authoring. It also has all sorts of collaborative features that you would expect in any sort of modern web-based experience. And I think that really speaks to why they tout it as a productivity-first e-learning authoring tool. Now, besides it being a no-code editor and offering a lot of branding options, you can also collaborate in real time with multiple authors inside a particular course. And there's project management tools and all sorts of stuff. The other thing, too, that I want to highlight is the pricing of the Parta tool. Now, tools are not cheap, especially in this industry. But one of the things, again, that I really appreciate about the folks at Parta is that they've put a lot of effort into offering realistic pricing for not just individuals, but companies alike, right? So you can start with something as low as $25 a month for a creator account or a pro account for $50 a month, right? So whether you're an individual, a freelancer, you're somebody who's new to the industry, and you're trying to upskill, or you lead an entire team, the pricing is reasonable for everything that it has to offer. So check out all of the amazing features and everything on the website. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I've already set up an account here for myself as I've been playing with the tool. And when you first log into the Parta.io tool, you're brought to your home page here. And this is where you can kind of see a snapshot of your projects, the projects that you might be working on, all of that stuff. Now here on the left-hand side, this is where we have our sidebar. This is where we can, go view our different projects. When you first create an account in Parta, it gives you some sample courses to learn about Parta. There's a branding course, and these are actually built in the authoring tool to help you understand a little bit about what Parta is capable of. You're also going to see some other options here for resources. One of the really great things about Parta is that you can actually upload your own assets to the platform. And if you have multiple people working on a team, they can access all of these assets. So think of it like, what's it called? A DAM, a digital asset manager, right? Have you ever had to work on one of those at work, right? Where you access photos, images, and all of that stuff? Well, it essentially has that built into it. So you can upload imagery, assets, logos, videos, and those can be repurposed and reused across multiple courses and multiple people. The other thing too you're going to see here is tasks. Now this is where it gets really, really cool, and we'll take a look at this a little bit later. The Parta.io authoring tool platform, I should say, because it's so much more than an authoring tool, also offers some pretty awesome project management features here as well. So let's say you're working on building a project, building a course, right? You can come in here and look at tasks for a given project. Just like you would in any other project management tool, you can assign it to people, update status, give due dates, and you can then manage a portfolio of work for multiple projects or individual projects and see their status along the way. Where this is really, really helpful, I think, is if you are in a position where you're leading a team, right? And you have multiple projects assigned to multiple people, or you have multiple parts of a single project assigned to multiple people, right? You can assign things, track them, all of that really great stuff. So that's super awesome. Then down here, we have options for branding, fonts, and other stuff here. We're going to take a look at this a little bit later because one of the cool things too that you can do with Parta is that you can set global branding standards. And so let's say, I'll tell you one time at a previous company, we went through a whole rebrand. And the marketing team was like, you need to rebrand all your courses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to take forever to open up all of these courses, update fonts, slides, all of that stuff, and republish and everything. Well, one of the cool things that you can do in Parta is that you can set global branding standards and instantly rebrand a whole bunch of courses all at once, which is amazing. So we'll take a look at that as well, right? So I'm going to go to the projects tab here. This is where we can see our projects, organize our projects. We have folders, all of that great stuff, just like you would see in any sort of online authoring experience. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And then I'm not going to build out a whole e-learning course, but I have some dummy content for a hypothetical company that I've made up called Webistia. And we're going to create some different interactive elements, content elements, so you can kind of get a really good sense of what the tool is capable of. So I'm going to go ahead up here and click a new project. And we're going to give it a name. I'm going to call this my Webistia consultative sales training, right? I can put it in a folder, but we'll just leave it here. I'll hit save. And it's going to bring me into the authoring experience, right? And you're going to see a bunch of tabs up here for contents, resources, tasks, team, translations. This is where we can manage different aspects of the project. And then here, this is where we get into the editing and course authoring space down here. Now, you'll see there's some information, a little graphic here to help you understand how a course is structured, but I'll give you a really quick overview. So courses are made up of a cover page, content pages, a quiz if you want to have one, and then you can organize content or multiple content pages into chapters, right? So I'm going to start by creating a really, really basic cover page here. I'll select cover page, and I'm just going to give it my course name. I'll call it Webistia Consultative Sales Training, and hit enter. Or we'll go to edit here, and then we're coming into our editing platform. Now, as we look at the editing platform, everything is built with blocks, right? We have stackable blocks where we can create our course. We can also preview our course on different devices, so it's fully responsive. There's a whole lot of other stuff here that I'll dive into. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by adding a block. And one of the great things too is that there's all sorts of pre-built blocks, right? And content types. Now, right now, because I've created a cover page, it's showing me the block types for different cover pages here. And they're just different assets, different configurations of a template. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I like this one here. I'll go ahead and select that, add that in, and it's going to create this as our first block for our cover page, right? So I can come up here, change the course name. I'll call this my Webistia Consultative Sales Training. We have a button here where we can, choose what we want it to do. We have a progress bar down here. We have some background stuff here. I'll talk about that here in a minute. We have some information about the course. We can have some content here for overviews, material. I'll talk about that here in a moment. So it kind of gives us a great cover page for the course itself. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to minimize this, and I have some dummy content here. I have a little mini storyboard, if you will, with some content. And I'm going to pull out some of this content. So here's, a quick overview of the course. I'll go ahead and copy this, come back into Parta, and I can replace all of this text here just like this, right? And you have rich text editing, just like you would have, in any other tool here. Yeah, I'm gonna allow it to paste here. A little weird funky thing with my pasting here. That always happens when I copy and paste out of Word. So let me just fix that real quickly. So if I wanted to, I can come in, do a hard return here, and edit this. Maybe I want this bold, something like that, right? You have all of that coarse or rich text editing that you would expect. And I can even change this. We'll say, in this course, you'll explore something like that, right? Or let's do course overview. And then we'll say here, I cannot type today. In this course, you'll explore ... And then I can put whatever I want here, right? These are all just pre-built options here. So I can come in here and we'll say 1, 2, 3, and maybe we'll put in our learning objectives here, right? We're gonna ask probing questions. Get rid of that bullet there. Okay. Copy this one out. Now, I'm not doing anything with the branding or colors yet because I want you to see what happens when I go and actually edit a brand and apply it to the course itself, right? So I'm just leaving with the default branding options that's providing me with the screen color, these fonts, all of that stuff, right? So I have some learning objectives there. I can come in here, swap out these images if I had some icons, or I can just delete them completely if I wanted to. I can do whatever I want there, right? And you can see that here on the sidebar. So maybe I go with something really simple like this. And then you'll see here in a little bit the materials section here as I add content, right? So that's a quick cover page, right? I can even come in here and swap out these images and whatnot. Now, the other thing too that's really cool is that anytime you build a block in Parta, you can come up here and save as a template, and you can save this as my, Webistia sales training cover template. Save it as a template. We'll put it in projects, save. And what's great about that is it allows for modular course authoring, right? So you can repurpose templates, repurpose course content types, all of that stuff, which allows for modular course authoring, which is great and scalable and efficient, right? So if I were to just stop right there, I have a cover page. I can go ahead and preview it up here. And I have this banner up here because right now I'm on a trial, but you can see if I scroll down here, here's my course overview. I'm going to learn 1, 2, 3. I got to fix a little bit of the spacing there. And then we have our materials there, right? So we'll go back to the editor here. And I'm not sure. Oh, because it has the image in there. Let's replace the images. Let's do something. I don't know if I have any icons. Let's see what they have here. I can actually use something from Unsplash. Let's do, let's see what comes up. Customer service, right? Okay, here's some customer service stuff. So maybe we're going to go with this image here. Put that in there, replace this image. Let's do, talking to customer. Talking to customer while selling scones or clothes, right? Let's do call center. There we go. Throw that in there. Great. We'll do this one here. And shaking hands. It's like a proverbial universal customer service thing, right? No? Oh, I forgot to do Unsplash. There we go. Shaking hands. Okay, that's very businessy. There we go. I'll throw that in there, right? Or I could replace that with icons. So now if we preview it, there we go. We have some of our images in there. You can see it automatically applied a little bit of a rounded corner there. I'll show you a little bit of that too, which is really cool with the formatting. Okay, let's go back to the editor. So that's our cover page. Now, let's say we wanted to add some content pages, right? Now, if we look here in the sidebar, you can see there's different icons here. There's quick add. We can quick add something, a favorite, block or something like that. We have block structure. We'll talk a little bit about this later. This becomes really helpful when we get into pro mode editing. I'll explain that here in a moment. Then we have our block list, and then we have the course content, right? Which is what we have here. So I'm going to come back here to our main menu, and I'm going to add a content page. And let's say this content page is going to be, understanding our different customer types, right? Okay, click edit, and we're brought back here to our editing area. Now, these are showing all the recently used blocks, favorites, right? This would show us our actual blocks that we have here. We don't have anything right now, so I can go ahead and add a block, right? And this is where I can get into all sorts of different blocks that are available, different block types that are available as part of the Parta authoring tool, right? So if we click in here, we can see we have text blocks, different text layouts here. And these are fully customizable, right? We have image blocks here. So let's look at our content here. So we have a little bit of a header here, an intro, and then we have some content here. Maybe what I want to do is maybe I want to make this interactive, this content down here. So let's start with some text content here. I'm going to come up here to text, and let's see. We have heading with some body content. I like that. We have this with an image. I like that. There's a lot of different ones we can choose from. What if we went with something like this? Keep it simple, right? I'll add that. And it adds our block here, right? And we can see a preview of that here on our left-hand side. So as we add additional blocks, we're going to see that list grow here. So let's get some of our content in here. We're going to say identifying customers' needs. Okay. And I'll make that unbolded there. And then let's get that content in here. Microsoft Word always loves to mess up formatting when you're copying and pasting from one thing to another. And then let's change this image here. Let's replace the image. And I could upload image. We'll do that here in a little bit. There's some company images here. So again, this is where we can see all of the different built-in images. What do they have in here? Do we have anything? Some built-in Parta images. We'll do Unsplash. And I like this one. There we go. Easy. Throw it in there and we're good. Now, you'll see there's some options here where we can choose whether or not the user can zoom into it. We can add alt text for accessibility purposes. We can add an overlay if we wanted to, change the color there. And of course, I don't want to set the transparency there. So I'm going to hide that overlay. And then we can change the fill. We can make it fit, make it stretch, so distort it. So we'll just do a fill there, right? Okay, so now we have a block, introduction block, pretty simple. Now let's say we wanted to do some sort of interactive block, right? So I'm going to add another block. And if we come down here, we have interactive blocks, right? So let's say, what do we have here? We have our different customer types, right? There's a lot of different ones I could go with. I could do a tabs interaction, maybe. Let's go with the cards. Let's start with that. That's interesting. I'll add that. And then I'm going to add one more. Let's do another block. And maybe I'll show a cards one. And then we can also show a tabbed interaction as well. Let's see what there is. That's an interesting one. Tabs across the top, tabs across the side. Kind of an interactive timeline here. Let's go with... we have accordions as well, right? Let's do a tabbed interaction. Let's find, I like this one here. Tabs across the side, right? Add that in there. and we can see some different tabbed interactions, nice little animations, whatnot. All right, so let's start with customizing this cards interaction, right? Now, because it's mobile responsive, you can see it's overflowing this down to a third line here. So we can come in here, we can add text, we can replace the image. Let's replace the image here. I'm going to upload some imagery. I'm just going to put it in this folder here, upload resources, and let's find our customer types. I have 3 different customer types here. So I'm going to upload these images. Give it a moment. Okay. We have our WebIstia logo. We'll come back to that. Let's start with, what do we have here? We have established business owner, team, startup enthusiast, small, solopreneur. So let's do established business owner. Where did that go? Did I only get the one image? I think I only uploaded the one image. Let's upload the other one. Upload a resource. Let's do established business owner first. Oh, there they are. Okay. Established business owner. And then for our next one, we'll do startup enthusiast here. And we'll find that here, startup enthusiast. And our third one is our small solopreneur. Right? Very good. Now, now that we have the cards here, right? If the learner clicks, then it flips, and then we can actually edit this content, right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy this out. So maybe this is just like a click to reveal. Again, I'm editing the bad job that Microsoft Word does with copying and pasting, especially when you do bullet points, right? Okay, and then we'll do this one as well. Flip her around, get some content. Actually, I like it left justified there. Yeah, let's do that here. Where's my justification options here? There we go. Make it left justified. I don't like blocks of text being centered like that. Now, if we click on any of these, we can see here, we can even add images or files to the opposite side here. When they click and flip it around, right? So now if I preview this, we have our, identifying our customer's needs, click, a little flippy flip here. So a simple card interaction, right? Now if we go back to the editor, of course, if I wanted to add another one, I can come in here and add one more and replace that. I can move them around like that, really, really simple custom editing to these blocks, right? Now, if we come down here, I can do the same thing with our tabs interaction, right? So let's say I wanted to do some content for the established business owner. Come in here. Can never spell business. Maybe we'll make this a heading 2, right? And then we can come in here and do the same thing here. Startup enthusiast. Oops. What did I do there? Oh, there we go. Enthusiast is another word that's going to give me a hard time today spelling. And then tab 3, we'll do our small solopreneur. There's no way I could spell solopreneur on my own. The small solopreneur. Something like that, right? Okay, good. So now if we take a quick preview of this, we have our little cards interaction here, and then we have tabs here. Okay, so that's like really basic how you can add different content bits and you can stack blocks on top of one another. And you'll see here, as you add more blocks here on our left-hand the sidebar here, we can see kind of a preview of how all of those blocks are stacked. What's cool about this now, I can actually rearrange these. I can move them up, move them down, rearrange everything if I want to. So that makes it really easy to see everything at a glance. And of course, if we add more blocks, we have all sorts of different block types that we can add, right? So let's go back and let's add another lesson. Let's see, what do we have here? Let's do our consultative sales process. Let's do some more interactive stuff, and then I want to show something really cool. So I'm going to come back here to our menu, and let's do a new content page. And we're going to call this our, we'll do Webistia's consultative sales process. Click edit. And what do we have here? Do we have some content? Yes, we have some. Oh no, let's go down here. Where is it? Yeah, no, it's right here. So we have some content here. I'll just go ahead and preemptively copy this. And just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and let's start with some text here for our heading. And maybe we'll just do something really simple here like this. Add that. We'll add in this text here. Fix the formatting from Microsoft Word. Okay, so that's a little introduction here. And then we'll say our consultative process. I can't believe I got that right. All right, now we're going to add another block here. Okay, now I want to do like an interactive hotspot style interaction. Let's see if I can find one that I can get started with. That'll give me what I need. I'm gonna keep looking. Here's like a timeline interaction. Let's do image. Is there an image one? I think it'll be under interactive maybe. Oh, here we go. Active labels. There we go. I missed it. Add that in there. And then maybe let's go ahead and replace my image here. I'm going to upload one here, upload a resource. And what do we have here? Consultative sales process. Yeah. So let's say we have this diagram outlining the consultative sales process, right? I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there. Throw that in. Okay. Now I have these interactive markers that I can move around. Maybe I want to put this one here. Maybe I want to put this one, I don't know, down here, and then this one over here, right? And these are all the different labels. I could always add another one, move it around wherever I want, or I can get rid of it. I'll delete it. And then if we click on it, we have some content here, right? So what do we have here? Asking open-ended questions. We'll start there, copy that content out. We'll put that in here. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. Okay, let's do our next one here. Making qualified recommendations. Okay. Throw that in here. Oh, no. That's for the content. Okay. And then our third one, overcoming objections. Throw that content in here. This one has an image in it. I'll get rid of that for now. Okay. What do we have in here? Yeah, there's the image. I'll get rid of that. Don't want that. And I think we're good, right? So now we've just created a lesson with our own little interactive markers interaction here. If we preview this, we can see that here. Here's our image. We have our content. We can navigate through these different areas like this. I'll have to reorganize those real quickly. Let's do that. I must have misorganized them here, right? Yes. Okay, now we can preview. There we go, right? So a simple little, marker style interaction there, interactive labeled image like that. Pretty cool. Okay, let's do one more content page. And this time I want to show something really cool where we can actually create interactive system simulations, okay? And we can even make them non-interactive or non-linear, which is super, super cool, all right? So I'm gonna go back to our content here. Oops, let me go back here. And let's do a new content page. And let's call this Navigating the Webistia CRM, right? Okay, let's edit it. And let's add a text block. We'll reuse one that I've already done here. So maybe we'll do this one here. And then viewing customer accounts in the Webistia CRM. Let's get some content in here. Okay, maybe what I want to do here is replace this, and I have a screenshot of our CRM here, and we'll do this one here. Throw that in there. I don't need this, so I'll delete that. We're good there. Okay, and I'll delete that text here once we get into pro mode. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do a video, and then I'm going to do the system simulation. So let's do a block, and let's do some multimedia, and let's just do a video here. We can embed code. We can do all sorts of things here. Let's just do a simple video here. Okay, and then let's do we link or file. Oh, we'll upload a video here. We have our video right here. We'll give that a moment to upload. Let's see if I click on it. Did it upload it? Yeah, I think so. There we go. So yeah, here's my video navigating the Webistia CRM. That's really good. Okay, so, and we have some options down here. We can change the thumbnail. We can change if it auto starts, control panel, all sorts of things, right? Let's replace the cover image too. I'm going to replace it just with the static image there. And then obviously we can upload captions, all of that stuff. Okay, good. Now let's do another text block. Let's do text here, and we'll do this text. Okay, we'll do system simulation. Is that what I would really call in the real world? Probably not, but we'll do that for now. Okay. So now we'll come to interactive. Now this is going to be way more interesting than like just a labeled graphic here, right? We're going to come down here, and there was one I came across here. This simulation right here. I like that. Okay. We'll add that in here. Now it has this background here. Actually, I get rid of this block now. Delete the block because we already have text here. So now it's your turn. Click through to navigate the Webistia CRM and locate the customer account, we'll say, okay? Now for this, I don't want the background image, so I'm gonna get rid of that. We'll change the text here to something that is more legible here. Oh, did that do the fill color? I did not mean to do that. Let's get rid of that. Where did I change the color here? I did not mean to do that. There we go, got that changed. Is the font color here? Yes, so primary, there we go. I was doing the fill color. There we go. Now it's your turn. Now we have the simulation down here. Now this is cool. We can actually upload a series of screenshots, and then we can link different hotspots together to create a simulation. But what's really cool is we can actually link multiple hotspots together to create non-linear simulations, if you will, right? So I'm going to go ahead and upload a set of screenshots that I have here. Let me replace this. And let's upload some resources here. And here's my screenshots. I have 1 through 5 here. So I'm going to select all of those, get those uploaded here. Okay, they're uploaded. We'll start with 1 here. Okay. Now you'll see here, there's these hotspots here. I don't need all of them. And they have hints in them. So I'm going to delete this. So we're going to put this down here and have that log in. So maybe we'll change the hint here. Enter your credentials, then click sign in. There's the hint, right? Now, what I can do here is I can create connections. So where do I want it to go, right? So I'm going to have it go to slide 2 here, okay? So that'll automatically go here. Now, let's change slide 2. So I'm going to replace the image here. And we have my second image here. Add that in there. And this one has a bunch of different hotspots on it. And get rid of some of these. Don't need all of them, okay? And in fact, this time we're going to have 2 because I'm going to show you how nonlinear it can be. So here's this first one. So we're going to have the learner look up this Sarah Johnson account here, right? I'm going to put this one here, and there it is. Oh, now I get over here. Do this one here. I want this one go to the customers. So this one will go to slide 3. And then this one, oh, there we go. This one will go to automatically. We're going to go to, I don't know what slide we'll come to. We'll come back to that one. All right. So we have either clicking customers or they can view directly into Sarah Johnson. So the next one will be, let's see what it'll be. We have 1, 2, and then we have 3. This brings us to the customer window, right? Okay, good. Don't need this one. Here's our other one. And then if they want to view it, they have to click here. And this will go to 4. Let me adjust the size of it here. There we go. Put that right there. Okay. And then let's replace number 4. Where's 4? There it is. Okay. We have 4 in here. This one's much more subtle. This one's just the drop down here. So we're going to do the view here. This one will go to 5. How about that right there? And then let's get rid of this hotspot. Don't need that. And then let's replace slide 5, which should be her profile. Right. Okay. And then we're there, right? And then maybe this is where it ends. Or maybe the logout just takes them back to the beginning, right? Get rid of this, delete that. We don't need 6. We don't need 7. We don't need 8 or 7. Okay, got rid of all of those. Now if we come back here, we have slide 1, which goes to slide 2. And this one was the one we didn't get a chance to link, right? Did we link that one? Yeah, okay. Link this to directly to her account, right? Which is there. So that's where we can create nonlinear stuff. So let's give this a quick preview, see how it works, right? So I'll preview it here. So here's our overview. Here's the video, right? There's a little walkthrough there, okay? So we can watch that video. And then down here, we have our interactive simulation. Here's the hint. I didn't have to put that in there. I just had that in there right now. So click sign in. And then I have to go back and edit these hints. I can actually turn off the outlines there too. So let's say we go to customers, do this, do view. Now we're there. We log out and it takes us back all the way around. We can go straight to view, and then we go straight to our account, right? So we can create those nonlinear paths. So let me see if I can turn off the visibility there of some of those. A display clickable area, no. There we go. Navigation, hide. Okay, so we have those there. Let's get rid of some of those hints that we have here on the screen. So this one, hint. No, we don't want the hint. Here. Do we want the hint? No. Hint settings. Delete the hint. There we go. And then here, delete hint. There we go. So now if I were to preview this, we have the hint here. We can't see the outline. So it's truly like a little simulation there, right? Super cool. Okay. Let's do one more thing. Let's create a quiz at the end, okay? So I'm going to come back here to course content, or back up here to the top, and we'll do a quiz at the end here. Call this our, final knowledge check. All right, so here we are to our questions here. All right, so actually what we're going to do is we're going to actually start with a start screen here. So we can actually do a start screen to our quiz. So we will do, we'll start with a simple one here, add that in. Then we can get into our questions here. So we're just going to do a simple multiple choice question here with feedback. There we go. Add next. And then we can add in a results slide, right? And we will keep the results slide really simple, just like this. Add that in. And then here is our question, right? Okay. Now if we go back up here, this is where we can see how it's all structured, right? We have the start screen. So let's test your knowledge. Here's some information. We can change all of this, start quiz, and then we get into our individual quiz questions and then our results here at the end. So I have a couple of simple quiz questions here. So which of the following is an example of a friendly farewell? I don't know. Farewell that's friendly. Let's see here. So here's our options. This is our feedback. So we'll put the question here, right? And then for our options, we'll say, here's our first one. Okay. I could put feedback here. Was that the correct one? Yeah. Oops. Okay. Option, and I'll make that as correct. And then option 2 here, copy that out. Okay. And then, oh, here we go. If I want to add an option, put it down there. All right, so there's our options. We have feedback here if I want to have individualized feedback per answer. In this case, per each answer, per selected answer, feedback mode combined. We'll do general feedback, so it's just feedback at the end. We can choose on shuffling, display feedback icon here. Whether or not we want to display any feedback, we can do all of that, right? So if we have some feedback here, I didn't put any feedback into this, so that's totally fine, right? And then we have other questions down here. I'm going to actually get rid of this question, and we'll just keep it really simple here. So we have our question here. So let's go ahead and preview this. So here's the start screen for our quiz, start quiz, and then here's our option. Now this one was multiple select. That's okay. Click submit, finish test. And I got 100% right. We can try again, finish the quiz, that sort of stuff, right? And if we click here, we can see actually the menu for our whole course and click through it here. Now, what I want to do here, we built some simple blocks, right? Simple, easy stuff, and we can navigate through our full course here. What I want to do now is I want to go into some of the branding options. This is where you can do global branding to your courses in Parta, and this is where it gets really cool. So I'm going to actually exit out of here, and I'm going to exit actually out of the entire course, and I'm going to come down to branding here. Now, by default, there's a default brand, but we can actually create our own brand. We can create multiple versions of our own brand as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new brand. I can actually import two if I had created one, saved it off, but I'm going to add a brand. And we'll call this our Webistia brand, right? And we can start with a default. So maybe I'll start with, whichever one, Sunset Sky. I like this. And we'll start the design. Now, you get some really, really, really deep branding options available to us where we can edit not just the colors and the fonts, but we can edit how intense drop shadows are. We can edit how intensely rounded corners are, how thick lines are. It gets really, really intricate in terms of the amount of branding that we can customize. So I'm not going to go through everything, but I will go ahead up and set a standard brand up here. So let me minimize this. I'll close our little storyboard. And I have a brand here. So I'm going to open up our Webistia style guide. I'm actually going to open this up in preview. I hate when it opens up in Adobe Acrobat. Okay, there we go. It's just cleaner that way. Okay, so what we see here is we get a preview of some of the branding elements, right? So if we come back through here, we're going to do our color here. Here's our primary colors here. I'm just going to copy out this main blue color, and we're going to say that's our primary color here, right? Paste it in there, and we can see the update. Now let's do our secondary color here. It's that purple color here. Put that in here. Okay. Updates a couple items in there. Hover light, hover accent. What do we want there? Let's see what we do if it's the blue color here. I might change that. Changes the buttons there. That's good. Then we have border colors. Maybe for the border, I'll do this light color here. Yeah, so it does that. And then we have neutral. Let's do our light color for neutral. Let's see what that looks like. Does that color there, right here. And then our disabled, maybe we'll make this our dark blue, right? That's okay. Hover light, maybe that'll be this light blue color here. So I'm just putting my colors in to see how it all looks, right? I might need to adjust a few things here. Then we have text colors here. So let's do primary as our dark blue color. Okay. Secondary can be maybe this lighter blue or lighter dark blue. Okay. And then accent can be... let's try purple. Let's see what that looks like for the accent. Okay. And then we have backgrounds here. We have dark primary. Let's do this as our primary. This light color here. And then for dark color, we'll do our dark blue. I know it's a lot with me jumping back and forth. And then we'll do purple. There we go. So you can kind of see how quickly I just rebranded all of these colors. Now, there's tons of other colors that you can do here. Information, warning, success, errors. And then this is where we get into a lot of the other cool stuff. So we just did the color scheme. Now we're doing borders and the shadow. And this is where we can change a lot of the user interface. So for example, I can change the bordering. So if I want things to be just a little bit more rounded, you see how dramatic that gets? So maybe I want it to be, let's do 15 points, right? I can turn off the border or turn it on right there. And then I can even do some drop shadows, right? I can do kind of a regular drop shadow there, change the size of it, maybe make it more subtle. Oops, there we go. Something like that, right? So you can really customize that. Then we get into logos. Obviously, we can change our logo. Let me upload our Webistia logo, which I think I previously uploaded here. Yeah, there we go. Throw that in there. And it changes that there as well, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now, those are just the colors, borders, logos. Now we get into typography, so we can change all of our different type options here. Now there's some pre-built ones in here that we can choose from, standard ones, but I could also go over here to fonts and upload my own custom fonts. So if I'm working with brand fonts, I can do that there as well, right? So let's go back into our sunset sky. So we did typography, we did our sections here. Now this is where we can get into changing the header style. Again, you can change all sorts of things. You can change the thickness of the outlines. You can change the colors. We can change the menu icon. We can change the close icon. We can change all sorts of things. Side panel. Here's a great example too, where we can customize this. Let's say we wanted it to be on the right. We can do that here. On the left, we can change all sorts of options here. If I continue scrolling down, I can even change like the thickness of lines here. So notice these lines here as I change them. So that gets wider right here. Thickness here, what's that change? See how it's changing the outline here. I mean, you can get really incredibly granular. So this is definitely one of those things that, like, if you were to do this, you'd want to do it once, save it off so you can import it, so that you're not having to change it, you know, every single time on a course, right? We can change our buttons, all of that sort of stuff. And then elements here, same thing here. We can change all sorts of different items with the way different elements look throughout our projects, right? So a lot of super powerful options there. Now let me edit this and call this our Webistia brand. Save that there. Now that I've done that, if I go back to my projects now, here's my consultative sales training. I can actually come in here and change what brand it has. If I come back into it, actually, let me go into the project and we'll go into settings here. And then the brand template, Webistia brand template, hit save, right? Now, if I preview it, immediately you'll see all of my colors, that corner rounding, the drop shadow has been applied. I'd obviously need to come through and edit some of these colors here to make sure it looks exactly the way I want, but you can see here, this is all customized. The colors, the tabs, the rounding, all of that stuff has been customized, right? And then I can override that in the actual editor itself. All right, so those are just some of the options for editing content, changing the brand, all of that stuff. Now let me take a moment to talk about some of the other options we see up here, like tasks. This is again where we can do some of the project management features within Parta. So if I click here to add a task, I can come up here and say, you know, update brand imagery. I can assign it to, give it a status here. Maybe it's in progress. Assign it to myself because I'm the only one in here, right? Give myself a due date of, let's say, you know, next Friday. Give it a description, comments, create a task, and then we get a card here that I can move around, right? So I can edit and manage tasks and project management at the individual project level, right? We also have team options here, so I can come in here and assign different people to the project, and I can give them permissions to comment, to add and edit content, do all sorts of things there. We also have the option for translation, so I can do a manual translation, or there is the option to do an AI-based translation where I can translate the content from one language to another, which is super, super cool. And then, of course, we can export the project. Now, just like any other authoring tool, we can export to SCORM. If we wanted to upload it into our LMS and publish it, we have tracking settings, all of that great stuff. Or we can export it for HTML if we want to host it on the web, just like you would any other authoring tool. Or we can share directly from Parta here. If I do share, I can generate a public link here and share that link, and people can check out my course, all right? All right, well, that was a quick overview of the Parta.io authoring tool and e-learning platform. And as you can see, it's packed with features that make modern e-learning development faster and more flexible and way more collaborative. Now, don't forget, if you're curious to see what it can do for your own workflows and course creation, go check it out for yourself. There's a link down in the description where you can sign up for a free trial and give Parta.io a spin for yourself. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and bell button to get alerted the next time I publish a video just like this one, and join us in our free community inside the eLearning Designers Academy at elearningacademy.io. Otherwise, my name is Tim Slade, and until next time, I'll see you around.